About a week ago, I was on holiday in southern Spain in Granada. I had a break from posting videos, but while I was there, I did post a photo to the community tab on my channel. This photo, promising I would make a video about it when I returned home. That photo got a number of interesting responses, some of them from people who already knew what this is. Others were just funny, a few were confused or a bit concerned, but there was one that seemed kind of angry, suggesting I was using the KKK as clickbait. Right, calm down everyone, this is not, I repeat, not the KKK. Now, I did expect that some people would be surprised by this and might associate this image with the KKK. That's not to say I'm trolling or clickbaiting. I did say in the description this is not what some people would assume it to be. In this video, I'll try to explain what this really is and what's actually going on here. And again, this is nothing to do with the KKK. Okay? Some people got it right. This is part of Semana Santa, a set of events for Easter week or Holy Week throughout Spain. And Andalusia, and in particular Granada, is famed for the scale and spectacle of the events. Starting on Palm Sunday and continuing all week until Easter Sunday, a series of parades and processions takes place, each one celebrating, if that's the right word, a different part of the Christian Easter narrative. We were lucky enough to be staying in an apartment on the River Darro, right on the route where some of these parades would pass. We will look at a number of the things that happen in these parades, but let's deal with these guys in pointy hats right now. They're known as nazarenos or penitentes. Their participation in the event is an act of penitence. The unusual garb is something that goes way back in history, and as a result there are differing explanations for it. But here's what I think I understood of its origins and meaning. The pointy headgear is called a capirote. It was originally forced upon people who were being punished. They would be humiliated by being marched through the streets wearing the pointed hat, with hands and feet chained, being jeered and beaten by the public. This sort of discipline and punishment was a pretty common method the world over before the 20th century. To cut a long story short, the mortification of the flesh, which includes the idea of punishing oneself as a voluntary penance, is a common concept in Christianity and especially in Catholicism. So it's fairly easy to see how people might have begun to voluntarily wear the capirote, and sometimes chains, as an act of penitence. The formalized version of the Nazarenos capirote covers the face to conceal the identity of the penitente. In addition to the preceding explanation of what this is all about, there also seems to be the notion that the headgear lifts the penitente's prayers towards heaven. A similar concept to the symbolism of a pointed church spire, but sort of a personal version of the same. Now, that's probably a horribly short explanation of what you're seeing here, but suffice it to say, this is not the KKK. It's nothing to do with that at all. And it's a tradition that predates the KKK by centuries. If I've missed out or misinterpreted any important point, please feel free to comment. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the other stuff going on in these processions. They consist of the nazarenos, belonging to a number of different fraternities, each with their own colour codes. Various banners, crosses, sceptres, lanterns, censers and other articles that frankly I don't pretend to have researched at all. These were followed by women carrying rosaries and dressed in traditional widow's costume and headdress or mantilla. Some processions had large groups of children dressed either as biblical figures or in their Nazareno robes but without the capirote. In the middle of the procession would be a large ornate platform called a trona, upon which there are statues of biblical figures, in some cases depicting key events from the Christian Easter story. I couldn't tell for sure, but my impression is that these thrones are pretty heavy, moved by perhaps 30 strong men hidden underneath. It seemed to me that the weight and awkward size of these tronos might actually be part of the penance. Manoeuvring them through the doorways of the churches and along the narrow cobbled streets seemed like it was pretty hard work. Surrounding the trono there were incense bearers and people to light the candles. And following behind was a large marching band. The microphone in my camera has not really done justice to the music, as I think it tended to pick up only those instruments that were physically closest to me. The first-hand experience of this music was really quite remarkable. The procession would start and stop quite frequently, typically only remaining in motion for the duration of one passage of music. Then the trono would be set down and the procession would pause for a few minutes before setting off once more. The process of lifting the trona was done with a flourish every time, and the movement seemed to me at first to be quite ponderous and erratic until I realised that the marching of the bearers was choreographed with the beat and mood of the music. Our street was one of several where these processions would start, and each one followed a specific route around the city, past the cathedral, and finally, late at night, back to the church where it started, in our case back up the Guerrero del Darro. We were only there for 3 nights, but this continued every night from Palm Sunday until Easter Sunday. Now, whatever you believe or don't believe, I think it would be quite difficult not to find the sights and sounds of this parade quite moving. I think I've probably talked enough about this, so I'm going to shut up now and just show you some of the highlights I managed to capture. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.
¿vale?